Hey, everybody, welcome into Roosters on Olentangy River Road in Columbus, Ohio, the greatest city in the world. This is Lettermen Live. We're in the Lettermen Lounge. It's a Monday. Uh, we have our sign back, Bob, right behind you. This one has been screwed down so that
Yep.
Berm can't steal it. So we have a lot to cover, and it's exciting to be back here. We've got local political activist Cardale
Oh,
Jones
stop it.
for
Local, statewide. I mean, this is
statewide,
a
worldwide, pushing through name, image, and likeness. We're filming this before he's changing clothes into his suit, maybe a tux. I'm not sure what he's going to wear.
Would you
Governor
please
Dewine,
just wear a tux?
oh my God, with the long tail and the hat.
just go all
White
out.
gloves.
For
The
us.
Dumb and Dumber one, the
You either
blue one?
one of two things needs to happen, Cardell. Either you need to go over the top with dressing, like you look ridiculously overdressed for a situation, or you need to go there like ridiculously underdressed.
Flip flops and a tank.
Just flip flops, beaters, like you got the camo
OS,
shorts
I would
on.
go straight OSU short, straight like
Oh,
when
yeah.
freshmen get on the campus and take their loops on and walk around campus. I might just go just like
Yes, get your loop, go over there, talk to Rob, get
Hey,
your
let's
loop.
let's wrap this up, guys. I gotta go get a quick pump after this.
Yeah.
Next to him is Berm, and then Bobby Carpenter, of course. Couple Buckeyes and a recruiting analyst right in the middle. We got a lot of ground to cover, but Cardale, so where you're heading as we time travel with this show and reveal when we're recording, you haven't been over to the State House yet. Governor Dewine is coming to the name, image, and likeness rescue. I think you said you've been to like 4 appearances in the last 8 days to try and push this thing over to the finish line. What got you into it, and why have you become the face of this?
I don't understand how I became the face and so active in this. It started probably about 10, 12 days ago, just getting invited to the State House to give my testimony about being a student athlete and being on scholarship. And sometimes, that check is just not enough when you're living off campus. So you find other ways and means by rooming with 2, 3 other guys to, make those bills a little easier. But I mean, the student athletes, not just football, because that's the one you think of, and us being Ohio State football, former football players, and having an opportunity to fill the shoe, week in and week out. We see some of the revenue that's being generated through athletics, and particularly through the football community. So we think it's time for the student athletes. And what we've been thought, I mean, pretty sure Bobby, when he was playing, that he felt that he should have been compensated for some of the things they'd done on the field.
Yeah.
And you got so many student athletes that's household names in college and don't have the opportunity to play the next level, but could have made a crap ton of money, and who made a crap ton of money for their universities, but walked away empty-handed. So I think it's time that it changed.
So what's interesting, I saw our guys Braxton and Troy on Saturday night after we got back from Indian Lake.
That's
Yeah.
Braxton Miller.
Braxton
and Troy
Miller and
Smith.
Troy Smith,
Yeah.
two guys that
Great combination.
Yeah.
two guys.
As if there was any
well,
doubt.
Yeah.
the 3 of us there had 3 silver football trophies between us.
That's a pretty good combo, right?
you know,
One
so-
per person.
well, on
But not
average,
necessarily.
On average, one per person.
on average, one per person.
Everyone gets to hold one.
Yeah, I don't know if I qualified for that, but I mean, you could make the argument, and this is because everyone always looks at especially football and men's basketball, like, okay, these guys go play professionally, they can make tons of money.
Mhm.
Braxton Miller, due to an injury, and he still got drafted and played, but I don't think he really couldn't throw a football anymore, and as well as he could have before. And there was a lot of mitigating factors, obviously, that led to some of that. But he had played 3-4 years in the NFL and did all right, but never had that illustrious NFL career. And then Cardale Jones, who wins a national championship. It's the greatest 3-game stretch probably in Ohio State history. The next year obviously goes back and forth with JT, and plays in the NFL for a couple of years, never hits that massive payday. And so that would have been an opportunity, like I was thinking Braxton, like the opportunity for those guys to parlay their success at Ohio State, which was really concentrated here, to be able to monetize that with name, image, and likeness stuff,
Exactly.
where they were never like, oh, millions are waiting in the pros. Like, everybody said million. Like, that's not how it works. He knows how hard it is,
Yeah.
man. It's difficult. And so at Ohio State, you can do that at a level you really can't do at a lot of schools. And Urban famously said after the post-game presser there in the national championship game, where Cardale Jones's brand will never be bigger than it is at this moment.
Right.
At that point we thought, all right, see you, Cardale, you out of here. Like,
Yeah.
you already must have told him after the game that I'm gone.
Well, the other part of that, Bob, is that obviously being at Ohio State is part of it, and a lot of these guys grow their social media accounts, and they're very famous in Columbus, just being one of 85 scholarship athletes. But to take it to a potentially generational moment in terms of wealth, December of 2014, January 2015 for Cardale, you're not going to get that opportunity again, where he shoots to 1 million Twitter followers, and to be able to capitalize that. He could have had a sponsorship up there when we drove up to Cleveland for his announcement if he was stay or going to go. None of that stuff existed for him or you when you guys had those linebackers. And
Don't remind us, please. Don't remind us of what we missed out on.
That's the part that I think is just most crazy about all of this is why did all of a sudden this mentality or perception change about it? This always should have been the case for you guys owning your own name, image, and likeness.
Because he was there when it started to change a little bit. Probably when you first got there, that was because when did UConn win the national championship?
UConn won basketball.
Yes,
girls or boys?
Well, the boys. The last one with what's his name?
Like 2011.
Kimball Walker. I think it was 10 when he dropped the guy from Gonzaga.
And there was their point guard,
Kimball Walker.
Not Kemba, but one of the other dudes on the team where he talked about. He's like, "Yeah, man, I had to go to bed. I had to go to bed hungry at night." Yeah. And like all of a sudden they start examining. We're like, "Yeah, you can have a bagel with butter, but cream cheese crosses the line." And all of a sudden, people are like pressing down, like, "Wait, you guys make all this money on these guys, and these rules don't even make any sense. Why don't you just give them all the food that they want? They're working out, they're doing all this stuff. If they want to go eat 3 or 4 times a day, why can't they eat 4 times a day as opposed to 3?" So I felt like that was a little bit of where the tidal wave of public perception began to change, where these guys aren't just normal student athletes, like normal students. It's a different requirement of what you're asked to do. And so that was kind of the beginning of it. And then obviously 15 and Cardale gets rolling. And I feel like that's picked up a ton of steam since then.
Yeah, for sure. And then the NCAA slowly but surely try to change some of their ways. And then you see more players get in trouble for things that's Chase Young, for example.
Yeah.
You know, when he was suspended for a game because he asked a family friend, just happened to be, you know, a wealthy person for some type of financial compensation for his family. And you look at that as the public looking at it, it's like, golly, NCAA, you're going to punish this kid for trying to help his family.
Trying to get his girlfriend to the Rose Bowl.
Exactly. And even though he paid this person back, you know, when the bowl gifts and things like that came in, it's just a simple fact of like, we shouldn't have these student athletes in this position when they're bringing in so much money to this university, you know, and they're not allowed to take advantage of what they're doing on and off the field.
Well, they finally now, I mean, even, and this is like the whole evolution of this, when Urban started pressing and they didn't used to be able to help with your lost
travel,
your parents' travel, which was a big deal. It's like, hey, we're going to this game. Like, awesome. Everybody's going to go. Yeah. To bring your parents and, you know, family, whatever. It's like, that's like $4,000. Like,
especially last minute like that.
Because you got
to have minute flight.
Yeah.
Holiday flights.
Crazy
finding a hotel.
Prices.
Yeah. Finding a hotel.
Which, like, some of the schools, you know, my brother played at Cincinnati, and it wasn't obviously Ohio State, so they would book them in the team room. They take care of you, like, the team rates and all that stuff. Or we didn't get that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, your parents like, how the heck are you going to pay for all this?
Yeah.
So they had that, and then they were able to start to pay for the disability insurance and pay the premiums on that, which is like, okay, I want to come back to school, but, you know, I need $1 million policy. It's going to cost $25,000. Well, I can't afford it. My family can't afford that. So, okay, we can start helping with some of these things. So it's slowly, like Cardale says, chipped away at this. Yeah. All of a sudden now it's like, dude, these people, you got the Paul brothers making millions of dollars a year on YouTube. Like, why wouldn't players be able to do that if they want to have their own stuff?
Being their own.
Some of it has to be just recognizing you can't stop some of the stuff that's going to happen.
Exactly.
The way that social media works, the way Venmo works. I mean, people are going to get paid. There are going to be people who are malicious actors who are going to say, "Hey, I can give you $50 here, no big deal. Just show up at our party for 15 minutes." I mean, whatever. It's going to happen.
And who cares if it does?
Who cares if it does?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Even with the name, image, likeness going into effect, it's still going to be ways around that for, you know, people and athletes going to get paid, you know, X amount, or, you know, when they dip into the recruiting, like, hey, we're going to guarantee you this and we're going to guarantee you that, even though the schools have no control of that, but they still got great relationships with their boosters.
Well, the NCAA has no
They
enforcement
do?
wing right now at all.
Surely not.
The NCAA has no enforcement wing at all. So it's interesting that they're trying to pass this now NCAA-sponsored legislation and make sure that they put in it that is, if the NCAA believes that the inducement was used as a recruiting tool, then it's a penalty.
Good luck. There's so much
good luck.
ambiguity in proving that.
Right.
Plus, by the way, the Supreme Court ruling on a lot of this stuff was very, very aggressive on like the amateur status, and these guys are employees. Like, if they play it all, it's going to take us a couple guys to file suit in court against that, and I know it's legislation, but that stuff can get
fired.
overturned.
I mean, there's a lot of things here that are in play. Employees can get fired.
Yeah.
Scholarships are going to become much less guaranteed, I think. But also, ultimately, for you guys, for the players that do it, you still have to be damn good at football to have people want to give you anything. So you can't go out there and just say, maybe as a true freshman, you might be able to tell people in your hometown, hey, I'm playing at Ohio State and they're going to sponsor you for a couple things, or you're going to make a little bit of money. But if you go there and you don't play for 3 years, nobody's going to give a rat's patootie who you are at that point. So you still have to go out and put it on the field. And that's where your brand will obviously continue to grow. But the idea that this is somehow going to ruin college football, people just don't realize that this has always been going on. Now it's just going to be more above board than
right. Exactly. Now you're going to see. Now you can't question when that athlete, that student athlete, that star quarterback, whatever, pull up in a freaking Bentley. You know, he got the means to do it, because I think, you know, looking at guys, looking at recruits, and looking at some of the players on the team now, I mean, these guys are going to be making north of $300,000-$400,000 a year probably.
Yeah.
You know, and not just and this is just right when they sign that dotted line here in a couple of hours. You know,
and a big part of that too is not even just a sponsorship, like we're going to bring current players into Roosters to be able to do that and add that to the show. I mean, talking about someone with the social media outreach that you had as a player, that's worth, you're still using it.
Yeah.
That's worth a lot of money just for one post.
You should sell that. We didn't come here to play school tweet, like as an NFT.
NFT,
I mean,
yes,
that'd be worth a lot.
Yeah,
and I think probably deleted it.
No, I still have it.
Okay.
I still have it. You can Google it. But anyway, that's crazy, because the simple fact of you know, these players, I think a lot of this will be taken advantage on the social media platforms. I mean, just look at where, you know, the society and the world is going to anyway. I mean, just a simple post to reach so many different people. So with, you know, one thing that the representatives was concerned about is, you know, we talk about how players don't have a lot of time to do this and do that and hold a job and things like that. How would they have these opportunities and these media obligations and these marketing obligations to make time for this? Like, for one, it's money, so they'll find time. They'll find
So
time.
you always
And then, they sleepy. Hey, they sleepy, but they got to go drive an hour and a half away back to their hometown to make $20,000. They pop a 5-hour energy. They get there and get back. But I was telling them it's really going to be capitalized on the social media platform, because this is what these people want. They want access to your network. They want access to the people that you're reaching on a daily basis and you are engaging with.
Because there are people like, let's use another Lettermen Row partner, Buyers Auto is a partner with Ohio State. They're probably not going to be lining up to go 1 through 85. Like Tate Martell would not have got an offer from George Kaufman.
He was in the mix.
But if you have 100,000 Twitter followers, and Tate had more than anybody else on the team, well, there's a market for him. He was well known in that capacity, and now you're not just solely being rewarded for play on the field or a recruiting inducement.
Exactly. Yeah,
you're an influencer.
Exactly.
Right. He still is.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong
Herm
with
still
that.
follows.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
What's he putting out on the gram lately?
I don't know. I'm not a big Gram user. I'm trying to up my Insta game, but it's
on
struggling.
that Twitter.
You got to start. I
Struggling.
mean, you take some bathroom selfies. I think that might help up the game.
I don't
That's what the people want out
That's
there.
what they want.
I don't think so.
As of recently, I just
Started doing that.
As of recently, I just unblocked him on Twitter. So.
One of my big days.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to hear about it anymore. Hey, can you ask Cardale? If
Yeah,
you
I mean,
block me?
it really hurt me. 'Cause I never spoke a ill word of the guy, but yet here he was blocked. It's all right. It's cool.
Probably got in the wrong
And now we're here.
I'm over it.
And now we're here.
I'm over it. I mean, it doesn't even hurt my feelings anymore. I don't cry myself to sleep anymore.
That's good. That's a real step in the right direction. Cardale, you're sending your son across the border into Canada.
Jeez, he said that. So we were just talking about his daughter earlier, and I'm like, I think he got a son, and then all of a sudden his young son, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how much younger he is, but
He's actually older, I believe.
you never know how it works out. For Tyvus to get that deal, how good did you feel last week?
Great. I mean, I knew about it for about almost a month now, and wasn't really
thanks for the heads up.
No, it wasn't really celebrating things until like the papers were signed and stuff like that. But I'm excited for him because, just like myself, we think we got a lot of play left in us, and it'll be a great opportunity for him to go up there and show him what he got. And when guys take other avenues to get back to the NFL, they just a slight detour. So he got a huge chip on his shoulder going up there, and I cannot wait to get one of those BC Lions jerseys.
Would you play in Canada?
You know what?
Did you put on a BC
I
Lion?
just had the opportunity, but
Okay.
I had to pass.
Okay.
Because of the obligation I have this week. It's tough with football right now. Clearly the goal is trying to play back in the NFL, but as the longer you are away from it, the harder it is to get back into it.
Right.
So I don't want to allow other opportunities, other things I love to do when it comes to life after football keep passing me up, waiting on a call from an NFL team. So Canadian team reached out to me about 2 weeks ago. No, about 2 days ago, actually. And they asked, wanted to sign me. They said, hey, but you got to self-quarantine starting tomorrow, which was yesterday.
Yeah.
No, which was the day of the JR Memorial.
Yeah.
Started self-quarantine, and then you had to get up there on July 2nd and then quarantine, and we start camp. Softball game July 17th, all the stuff with the State House and NIL this week, the show. I'm like, I can lie and say I'm going to self-quarantine this week while I'm here, but there's no way I can miss some things that I already have lined up in early July for.
And they'll probably see you at a press conference.
If they don't see Letterman live, they might see you with the governor of Ohio.
Hey.
Good point. Good point. So I was like, I'm not going to take that opportunity, that risk of missing out on so many great things that, been in the works for the last 6 or 7 months for a potential opportunity, not just in Canadian League, but in football. And also, they said they signed their quarterbacks for 2 years. I'm just like, that's a little tough right now.
Locked in right there.
Yeah, that's tough right now. But, so I had to pass on it.
Let's take a break.
That's what it's all about.
Well, we can talk about this delicious food that we didn't get to at the beginning.
That's a great idea, Bob.
Well, because we're at the Letterman Lounge and it's
Fried pickle.
Appetizer Tuesday, which means every appetizer, the featured appetizer is $2 all day long. And I believe this week it's fried pickles.
It's Justin Zwick's favorite.
And he's not even here to eat the fried pickles.
He's going to be so upset that he missed this week.
Never had a fried pickle.
They're good. You're going to have to try one here at the break.
Pass the basket on down there to 12. We'll get him into that.
I got one right here.
He's got
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back on Letterman Live. It's brought to you by Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
Roosters is one of the unique companies that we deal with. They're involved in everything we do, from our personal foundation to also the Cancer Research Fund. And that's from the Buckeye Cruise from Cancer to all the events leading up to the Buckeye Cruise.
They donate back to different organizations that are near and dear to their heart. And we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long, long time.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
All right, welcome back into Letterman Live. Cardale has finally had his first fried pickle. Like, look at him. He's going, well, maybe more than one down there.
So good.
Bob's got one in there. Berm's going to town. What do you think? Appetizer Tuesday? This is Cardale's seal of approval.
You got to come check it out.
All right.
You got to go check it out.
Get the fried pickles. Berm, it's your turn to lead the way here. June has come and gone, pretty much, in terms of recruiting visits. We saw the numbers over the weekend. Was 177 visitors, 40 some odd official.
44 official visits, 172 unofficial. I mean, that's a busy month. And
9 camps.
it's crazy. The dead period begins again today. I mean, so you have a 15-month waiting period to visit schools, and then all these kids are told, okay, cram everything you can into 4 weeks. 28 days of madness.
And the big one out there that everybody's waiting for, JT Tuimoloau. I know how much you love when people ask you for your predictions, so I'm going to do that.
Crystal ball it for us, Berm.
Let's peer into Berm's crystal ball for the nation's #1 recruit.
I think it's important to be disclosing the truth here in that I've never spoken to JTT because he doesn't talk to me. So, it's okay.
Why do you think that is?
That's pretty rare, by the way.
Because he's a kid who just wants it private, and
he
he's
keeps
got
his cards
one
guy
guy in Seattle, Brandon Huffman from 247 Sports, that he talks with, who he met when he was in 6th grade, and is kind of worked with him his whole prep career. So everything that you see here. So
you've been scoping out 6th graders now, Berm? Is that
no, not me. That Brandon Huffman.
Yeah, but to be able to get in with some of these dudes.
Right. Well, you go to these camps, you see kids at a young age. You say, okay, that kid's a 6'4", 200-pound 14-year-old. Maybe we should watch him. So, everything that you see or hear or read about JT Tuimoloau comes from 2 sources. It's either Brandon Huffman or somebody who talks to a coaching staff that's recruiting JT Tuimoloau, right? Bottom line is Ohio State has remained optimistic that they are the team to beat in this recruitment, and they felt that way since March of 2020 when he was expected to make his official visit last spring. Obviously, then the world ended, and so that didn't happen. And what you worry about is that over the course of 16, 17 months, that feeling goes away. And because Larry Johnson is...
I thought absence makes the heart grow fonder, Berm.
In some cases, it do. Not, however, in recruiting, generally speaking.
The rules are different for recruiting.
Yeah, everything's flipped on its head. But Larry Johnson is a masterful relationship builder, and so even though he's only been doing it over Zoom and FaceTime, which of course is awkward for Larry Johnson because I don't think he's
not a big technology.
He's just
buff.
learning how to use a cell phone probably. He's done a really great job maintaining that. So the Buckeyes got him on campus for his official visit June 18th through the 20th, and according to everyone that I speak to inside of the program down the street, everything went as well as could possibly be expected. They did things that were a little different for them.
The Hawaiian shirts.
The meeting at the airport, the Hawaiian shirts to try to
the helicopter ride around Columbus.
Well, that didn't happen.
That was L.A.
But I think we tried to up our game. Hot air balloon, something.
Skydiving.
Did he?
Skydiving into the shoe.
Into the shoe.
Did
dinner
you
at
get
the
to meet
50.
with him?
I did not.
Oh,
I was actually.
So they didn't pull out the real big gun.
Well, we were
He
down.
must not
We were
be a
down in
business
Florida.
major.
We were down in Florida for the Buckeye cruise. I said, you know what? Fly him down here. You want to see what Ohio State can do for you? Come down here and take a look at this.
Yeah.
Cardale has slowly found out more and more as he's done these events.
Yes.
Like what
Yes.
the branding power of Ohio State is, and just the unbelievable passion and the love, like almost pseudo unconditional love. Like they
Pretty
have.
close. Pretty
These
close.
people, they're awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Like, it's almost overwhelming sometimes, but it's fantastic.
Bob is saying this somewhat in jest, but that really was the point of the entire weekend for Ohio State when they had him in Columbus. And it's a sign of how things are changing in the recruiting world, because this was not about, oh, you can come here and be a great football player. Like, he's the number one player in the country.
He's been watching the drafts.
Right.
He knows that it was Bosa, Young. Like, those guys are obvious.
Right. This is about you're coming to Columbus, Ohio, not just coming to Ohio State. This is, and that the fact that Ohio State and Columbus, Ohio are part and parcel with each other, that this is the whole package. And, that's the sell. It's about, hey, this is where you're going to maximize who you are on and off the field. And that's why Ohio State is better for you than USC, where you go and you're one big fish in a city full of big fish. Or Oregon, where, sure, Nike has a hand in Oregon. Newsflash, Nike spends a whole hell of a lot of money in Ohio State too.
Yeah.
And Phil Knight is certainly vested in Oregon as a entity, but he is also not a dumbass and is not going to just upset Ohio State.
Well, he makes quite a few appearances in Columbus.
Right. So there's, Ohio State, I think this is something they've done all month long with a lot of these really top tier kids, is try to just show them, hey, this is this place that is the best of everything you're going to get. There's an increased academic focus at Ohio State over the last decade. The culture in the locker room is better than anywhere in the country. The program is in as good a spot as anyone in the country. The city of Columbus is one of the fastest rising cities in the country. Like, you're going to get everything you want in this spot, and it's a 3-hour plane ride from home.
That's what's the most ridiculous part about this name, image, and likeness, the NCAA side of it. All of that is a recruiting inducement. When you're recruiting, you are trying to induce somebody to come.
Yeah.
You're not just going to say, well, here's $50 out of my pocket, but it would be insane to not describe what you're getting out of the program. Like, all of it is part of recruiting these players to Ohio State, why it makes Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Texas, Ohio State, USC so appealing in the first place.
Yeah, one thing about recruiting, I can remember going through the recruiting process with a guy who recruited, Coach Tressler recruited you, right? Yeah. Guy who recruited Bobby was being recruited by him and his staff. It's just, it was all about football in a way, but it wasn't all about football in a way. I mean, we talked about life after ball. We talked about what doing well outside the field, off the field, can do for you just because of having that alumni base in Ohio State. And I don't know if there's many places like that that will really embrace, help, take care of their alumni base and not just the student athletes. So if I was going through recruiting and I was a recruit right now, that's one thing I would definitely be looking forward to, because, football is great. I'm the number one guy, I'm number two, whatever it may be, but it don't last forever. And it's not always guaranteed. It's not always promised. I mean, Bobby probably can name countless guys who came in, highly recruited guys who probably never saw a lick of field and was just like, what's going on?
Well, you think about his class. I mean, it was him and A.J. Hawk, and then they were the throw-ins at linebacker, because Mike DeAndrea was the number one ranked player in Ohio at that time, and Mike DeAndrea's career never took off. Now, Mike, I'm sure he's doing fine, right? But
how did those Carpenter and Hawk guys turn out? I don't remember.
I haven't seen
Overrated. But there are guys who I played with, and their names would escape a lot of people, who are very successful, and they never played in the NFL, played a little bit at Ohio State, but are very, very successful off the field. And a lot of them will tell you, like, the doorway got open to me because of Ohio State. And obviously you had to do something once you got in there.
Yeah.
But the opportunities that I was granted for being an Ohio State Buckeye wouldn't have happened at any other place. And that one of the reasons, I ended up coming to Ohio State. I mean, there's obviously a lot of them, but I was my dad played 10 years in the NFL. He goes, listen, there's a lot of great players. Odds of you being able to do that, you get hurt the first day, man. He goes, and then all of a sudden that depth chart stacks against you and you're done. Yeah. He goes, and you're going to play and you have a great career, and maybe play special teams or whatever, but you're not going to maybe have that next level opportunity. He goes, would you still want to go to school there? What opportunities would be available for you? And so I was looking at, Notre Dame and Northwestern, like Stanford, some of these like academic schools that, none of them really had great football except for Northwestern when I was coming out. Notre Dame was transitioning. Heck, they went through like 3 coaches in 3 years.
Yeah.
Stanford wasn't as good. And, I remember asking my dad, just talking to my dad about that. He goes, let me tell you this. He's like, even maybe like looking at Ivy League schools, he's like, if you go there, it's like, that's great. It'll be a great opportunity. He goes, that resume, having that school on your resume, that may help you get to the top of the stack and may get you an interview. He goes, playing at Ohio State is going to get you to the top of the stack and get you the interview as well.
Yeah.
He goes, so if you're going to stay in Columbus or stay in Ohio, he goes, that's not going to necessarily be a difference maker. He goes, and frankly, depending on where you want to go, because there's more people that have big time jobs all across the country that are from Ohio State or Ohio anyway that are going to help you. So he's like, you'll get the education, but playing at Ohio State, like, oh, hey, you're there, team's good. Oh, you won national championship. That's awesome. You're on that team, even if you weren't one of the main dudes. That's going to open up so many avenues for you.
I know so many guys I play with now was walk-ons or players who really never had opportunity to play because, you know how it is. Ohio State, you got the best of the best. And, they still do signing events. The guy never played a snap or go to go to appear at a youth camp and wearing one of their jerseys or their rings, and still having that open up other opportunities for them. So, the brand is second to none.
Well, that's the sell. That's the pitch.
Yeah. It's an elite brand.
It is an elite brand, elite families.
So take that pitch though, Berm, and put it into perspective on the field. I had been going through this, watching it from afar, and then looking at the current roster and thinking that JTT would have been someone who would help on the interior of the line, but that perception of him seems to have changed, or maybe I was wrong about it. I thought initially it was a defensive tackle situation, 3-tech, but now all I hear from you and Reed is defensive end.
That's what he wants to play, but that's what you just got to watch this kid move and realize he's a little bit different. He's 6'5", he's 275 pounds. He's an elite basketball player. He is skinny. He's a skinny 275.
He reminds me of Adolphus Washington.
Right, but he's the comparison I always hear for him is Cameron Hayward as far as the type of player he is. And it's just one of those guys that
when you guys talk about Adolphus Washington, Cam Hayward, though, I mean, I'm not thinking. In my mind, you put him out there on the edge like a Bosa or Young.
Well, those guys start.
That's what I said. He reminded me more of Adolphus Washington. Yeah, but Didi played in his first year.
Beginning.
Then he moved into 3, and he's in the NFL. Been there
the value for Larry Johnson is that you have a 6'5", 275-pound defensive end. Joey Bosa is 6'5", 275 pounds. He can play on the edge,
right?
And now maybe JT Tuimoloau, if he picks Ohio State over Oregon, USC, and Washington in the next couple of days. Maybe he puts on another 25 pounds and ends up at 6'5", 310, and maybe it changes things. But what his intention is and what his goal is to stay on the outside and be an edge rusher, and that's what Larry Johnson wants. He wants guys who are all the same size. He wants 5 guys, 8 guys, 10 guys who are 6'5", 275 pounds, because he doesn't want necessarily a 1-tech to 350-pound 1-tech. Maybe you get one of those every couple of years, but it's not how you build what he's trying to do with the defensive line. That's 4 guys who can play at any position at any moment of the game. So, for JTT, it's an opportunity to make an impact at Ohio State this year, and he will. I mean, I don't care if he shows up 3 days before the season starts. He's going to be a guy. Back in our days, the Andy Katzenmoyer, who as a freshman was, you just put him out there and said, "Go get the quarterback." You don't need to learn the defense.
Putting him in that category,
right? You don't need to learn
anything
else.
It's elite right there.
It is elite.
You don't need to learn anything else. Just go out there and hit the quarterback. And so he'll get that sort of opportunity where no matter where he ends up. And the odds are he's playing against Oregon on September 11th or for Oregon on September 11th. So Buckeyes fans are going to see him in the horseshoe one way or another on that day. But, it's a situation where I don't think anyone really knows what he's going to do. I don't believe that he's going to tell anybody aside from maybe his parents where he's choosing. I don't even think
maybe his parents.
I'm telling you, it's this kid.
I love it when the guys don't tell their parents, and you see like the mom snap. We're like,
You pick away. Okay.
It's
So-
amazing. You might want to give him a heads up so his reactions are a little
Yeah.
more measured.
The things you have to look for, Ohio State has a summer session of classes that starts on July 6th. I would anticipate a decision is made before then, probably someday this week. Nobody has any idea except for CBSSports.com and 247 Sports. And that, as far as I was told on Sunday night, has not been finalized as far as the timeline. Now,
They will have it.
they will absolutely have it. There's no chance in the world that they are not going to be the ones to have this happen. I mean, so JTT canceled that visit.
Pretty certain right there, bro.
No chance in the world that they're
Doesn't know if he'll tell his parents, but is certain.
they will have the announcement.
Got it. All right.
That is a guarantee. But he canceled that trip to Alabama last weekend and never told anybody other than the reporter who wrote the story.
Wait, were the people in Alabama waiting for him in the flight? Just like
Nick Saban had on
He
his
didn't
Hawaiian
tell-
shirt and his
he did
leg.
not
He's
tell-
trying to put this on somebody.
Or does he
Even though-
cancel that trip and he like breaks out and commits Alabama?
I mean, that's what I saw somebody say. That's how good Alabama is. He's going to go there after canceling the visit. But the odds are that it's going to happen sometime this week. I'm just hoping it's not happening on Wednesday morning when I'm flying to California or Sunday morning when I'm flying home from California. So other than that,
are you flying up there? What are you flying to California for?
I'm going to take a helicopter ride around USC.
Perfect.
The Elite 11.
They have a
and-
parade scheduled for him.
The Elite 11 and the opening
Okay.
are back, and so we'll go see
back.
Quinn Ewers out there.
Oh yeah, the mullet.
And as far as I know, a handful of Ohio State commits are heading out for the opening and trying to take in some of the things that they missed in the last year with the COVID year. So,
Nice.
Bottom line, JT Tuimoloau it's Ohio State, Oregon at the top of the pack, Washington, USC. I guess if I was putting him in odds, Ohio State's the prohibitive favorite, probably a 2-1 favorite.
Really?
But
Pretty firm Magic 8 ball.
they've been the leader the entire way, and nothing has happened that should fundamentally change that. Now the question is, does the kid decide I want to go 3 hours away from home for school or a 4-hour plane ride?
You know what's interesting though? Like, I feel like inside 2 hours is doable. Like, and you can be in from Cleveland, you can get back. You get 3 hours or more, and it almost becomes a wash a little bit because it's not like you're going to be able to get back. Like, you're not doing that trip in a day.
Yeah.
You're going there for multiple days at some point in time. So, it's 3 hours. Like, if he was going
He's
to
pushing it.
if he was going to Washington, how far is he from Washington?
About 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was Washington, okay, that's home. Oregon is home-ish, but it's still for his parents. I mean, did you play those noon games? You play those 9 a.m. games?
9 a.m. kicks.
Those 9 a.m. kicks that they're gonna have out there.
And
How
then
would you
some of those late games they got out there.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
but the 9 a.m. card. I want you to think.
I could only.
What are you waking up at
imagine.
4:30, 5 in the morning?
Maybe earlier to beat some traffic,
Oh, it's amazing.
depending on how good the team is
No,
and who's coming in
it's the
town.
No one's going
it's
to
the
the game.
Pac-12.
So
That should have been the
Yeah,
recruiting.
there's no
pitch.
traffic out there.
If you want to know whose brand is stronger, they are playing the game, and the 3:30 would have been better for Ohio State, but they're playing the biggest game at noon because Ohio State's playing it with no respect to Oregon, their fans at all. Their team, too bad. Deal with the breakfast game.
Well, it's because they don't have enough fans for it to really matter, which is the unfortunate part. When you look back, Bob, to what Berm was talking about with building that defensive line and the same body types, what Larry Johnson's impact, we know how great it's been. What's the secret sauce there?
Ooh, the secret sauce. Well, I mean, I think if you go back and I used to look at Schleg's computer, and he had a full dossier of just naked dudes on there. He'd taken these pictures of the guys. Cardale, there's some Cardale shots in his little whiteys. They roll them up, get the legs going out, no shirt on. I mean, Chris Hansen might want to have you sit down and have a conversation if they ever dug into that hard drive. But you looked at all these guys, you watched the transformations that they would make with Mickey Marotti, and number one, they become stronger and more explosive, and their body physically changes. But like Larry Johnson, the position flexibility, and you saw this here at Ohio State because there's been times where they've had so many defensive ends, and they flip Tyquan Lewis inside, they'd flip Joey Bosa inside, then Sam Hubbard. It's like, hey, we've got bigger dudes who are more physical, who are more skilled with their hands because they've been here 2, 3, 4 years, and then we have some guys who are a little younger, more raw, that you can get on the edge and just use a little more athleticism. And so they go to that Rushman package. And frankly, at Ohio State, it's all married together with how you play. But when you can score a lot of points, teams have to throw the ball on you a lot. And so you don't have to be like a firm piece in there. taking out. When you play Wisconsin, Iowa, it's a little bit different. But the rest of the teams, man, it's go get up the field and let the linebackers play off you. And so it's very appealing to a defensive lineman. Hey, I can play outside, play inside. What does that do for you? It massively enhances your draft stock because they want that at the next level. And Cardale knows you play quarterback. Like, all right, well, in defense, all right, here's our subgroup. They flip this dude inside. They move these guys around.
You better find them.
Yeah, like you got to figure out where the guys are on the field. And so it's a lot of value with that to the next level to be able to be developed like that. And not many teams are able to do it because they don't have the quantity of quality dudes.
It's the same thing Ohio State's done on the offensive line, honestly. I
mean,
they're going out and finding 6'5", 310-pound linemen. They're not as concerned about finding that tackle body. I'm sure you have your occasional Paris Johnson type that exactly what he's.
But he's probably going to play guard this year.
But he's going to have to play guard. But Paris's draft value goes way up. Because in the NFL, you got 7 offensive linemen that you travel with. I mean, you got to have guys that can play all over. And so these guys get increased value. And for Larry Johnson and JT Tuimoloau specifically, that 4-3 front Ohio State plays is a big piece of this puzzle. And I think that those two things ultimately are why I think he picks Ohio State.
Is Oregon still playing 3-4? They play that. Oh, yeah. I'm telling you right now, the more that I see of that, he ain't going. He's not going there.
So, that's the value.
No one wants to play in that.
That combination of Larry Johnson.
I don't think he's no head up before I go ever play. And no, he got to come off the edge.
That combination of Larry Johnson and the scheme Ohio State plays, I think, is ultimately what pushes him over the top, because a kid like that is going to make a lot of money anywhere he goes in the name, image, and likeness era.
I thought he just meant in general, like McDonald's bags.
They did cancel a trip to Alabama.
They didn't visit Knoxville, so we missed out on that.
They've got couriers, great courier service.
Oh, that's right. McDonald's is on Uber Eats now. So
they deliver.
Let's go.
That's great. That's about, I know we're about to.
What I envision is Nick Saban on like a moped, Dumb and Dumber style, driving from Alabama all the way out there to Washington with just a giant McDonald's. Like when you go through, you've got like 5 orders there, and it's just all stacked up, strapped to them. Lloyd Christmas style, riding on out there, taking them 3 days.
Berm has been so subdued, and I thought we were just going to get out of here without going off the rails, but you picked up the slack, Bob. That's what I appreciate about you.
Team player.
That's Cardale Jones. He's going to sign in a bill into law in the state of Ohio.
Yes,
I'm the one signing it. Actually, I'm actually signing it.
I want you to bring a pen, and when Dewine gets out, you sign.
Whoa, where do I sign that?
Everybody signs.
Is this the start of your political career?
No, Cardale for president, was it 2020?
Right. You talk to Gonzo about that. He'll tell you what goes into that.
I don't believe you'll be old enough to be president in 24.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how old are you, Cardale?
28.
Yeah, you wouldn't be quite. You got to be 35.
Yeah.
2 more cycles.
28. Cardale 28.
Civics are important, folks. Make sure you go to school.
Yeah, exactly.
Or play school. Either way.
There it is.
Comedians up here today.
Anyway, that's Cardale Jones, and Bobby Carpenter. I am Austin Ward.
Education Secretary, Cardale. Maybe that's what you should pitch when you're up there. You need to pitch that. Hey,
he is the czar of name, image, and likeness. So I think
Graduated
he
with
should
honors.
go regulate it all. He knows all the ins and outs. He can help these guys get through it. This has been Lettermen Live. It's brought to you by Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. Come get some fried pickles on Tuesday. Appetizer Tuesday.
It's Jay-Z's favorite, and he's not even here to enjoy them.
We'll have to drop those off for Jay-Z. We will be back here next week. Hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend. We'll see you for Lettermen Live back here at Roosters next week.